colleague here, Senator Estrada, perhaps we can ask the resource persons coming from the private sector relative to their knowledge, participation, concurrence, remedial reactions as to the issuance of SO number 4. And I'm referring to the representative coming from Coca-Cola as well as the representative coming from the Philippine Food Processors and Exporters Association. Ang tanong po namin dito ay simple lang. Sa inyo po bang pananaw? I'm referring to Mr. C and the representative of Coca-Cola. Yun po bang SO number 4 at yung sinasabing pagkukulang o shortage ng asukal, lalong-lalo na yung ginagamit ng industriya, hindi ng consumers, ay totoo? May we start with Mr. Ruben C, who arrived first. Thereafter, same question. Thereafter, the representative coming from Coca-Cola. And if Senator Estrada would want to interject additional follow-up questions, he may do so as he please. Mr. C, Ruben C, nandito po ba?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Nasaan po kayo?
Andito po.
Ay, I'm sorry, doon ako nakatingin. Kasi
Thank you,
doon kayo
Chairman.
kanina eh. So, pakisagot lang po yung katanungan ko. And kung meron po kayong prepared sworn statement na wala pa sa kamay ng aming committee, pwede po sigurong iwan. Meron po ba kayo?
Meron po akong binigay na sworn statement.
Kailan po binigay yun?
This morning, sir.
Ngayon lang.
At saka in-email din po namin.
Can we have a copy of that? Siguro later on. But you answer, please proceed and answer my question.
Well, with regards po sa SO 304, so far ang knowledge po namin is nanggagaling din sa mga nababasa namin sa artikulo. And then alam mo namin talaga na may shortage ng asukal. So based dun po sa sa mga artikulo. Then yung industry po naman namin, we are affected daw ng...
Can I cut you briefly? When you say shortage, is it a real shortage or an artificial shortage?
Well, based lang po sa nababasa namin. So hindi ho namin alam kung totoo yun o hindi.
Pero kayo po ang presidente ng Philippine Food Processors and Exporters Organization. So sa inyo po bang organisasyon, may nararamdaman kayong shortage o pagkukulang ng asukal?
Wala naman po.
So wala pong shortage?
Wala po. Ang problem lang po ng our industry is yung high cost of sugar.
Hindi ho kaya related yung high cost ng sugar sa shortage? Dahil kulang ang nasa merkado, ay hindi sapat ang mapunuan yung demand.
Well, yun po yung namin eh. Yun po yung nararanasan ng industry namin eh. So
mahal.
mahal po. Oo.
Mahal kasi may shortage.
Yes. Kasi
So ang tanong ko nga po, yung bang shortage gawa-gawa lang o totoong may shortage? Kasi nakita niyo po yung pinakitang video ni Senate President na dagat-dagat na raw po. Patas-patas, patong-patong ang nakaimbak na asukal sa mga warehouses.
well, based ho doon sa nakita namin, parang wala akong shortage. Pero based naman po doon sa sinabi ni Yusek Sebastian, dahil sa usage daw, so parang kukulangin pa. So hindi ho namin alam kung which one is Pero yun nga hong masasabi namin, sa industry ho namin, usually kami hong mga exporter, kailangan ho namin ng mababang presyo ng asukal. Kasi po, kung the cost of sugar is high, hindi po magiging competitive ang exporter. Sa ngayon po kasi, if you buy from Thailand or Asian countries, the price of sugar landed cost in the Philippines is only about 40 pesos. But as of now, if the price is 80 pesos to 100 pesos, the industry will not be competitive.
Matanong ko po, sir, ano po yung ine-export natin na nangangailangan ng asukal na ang palagay niya ay napakamahal ngayon? Ano po yung uri ng mga ine-export natin? Ito po ba ay mga kakaning dilata? Ito po ba yung mga pagkain na pinoprocess natin na kailangan ng sugar preservatives? Ano po yun? Bigay kayo ng halimbawa.
Ang industry po namin, ang member po namin is composed of yung mga gumagawa ng biscuit, gumagawa ng snacks, gumagawa ng juice, gumagawa ng dried fruits, sweets, yung condiments po. Mostly yan po yung mga nangangailangan ng asukal.
So ito po yung halimbawa yung dried mango.
Yes,
ito po yun.
opo.
Mga confectionery, opo. So naintindihan ko na po ngayon. So dalawang tanong na lang po. Kung nandito po kayo kanina, while you were here, nabanggit po, it was mentioned over and over again by Mr. Former Undersecretary Sebastian that there were consultations made prior to the issuance of SO number 4. And there were attachments made to SO number 4. My question is this, was your group consulted? Was there an attachment or a board resolution coming from the Philippine food processors, coming from your group, supporting SO number 4?
Well, we are not consulted.
You were not consulted.
Yes, sir.
And yet, you're a major stakeholder in any sugar consumption or importation. Ilang percent po yon itong sa Philippine food processors? Ang nagagamit niyong asukal na...
Well, as of now, yung mga member po namin, we can use 6 sacks to 450 sacks per week ng
Nationwide.
sugar po. Yeah, nationwide po.
Maraming
Yung
salamat.
member po.
Unless Senator Estrada has a follow-up question, this just goes to show that, one, there was no prior consultation made contrary to the assertion of Yusek Sebastian that such was made prior to the issuance of Sugar Order number 4. I will skip the second question because it was partly answered. With the permission of Senator Estrada, Senator Padilla, and Senator De La Rosa, who returned like a good general who promised I shall return, I now ask the representative from Coca-Cola. News reports indicate that your group were one of those present and whose clamor was given an affirmative response by the President himself. Is this true? And how would you answer if I ask the same question I propounded to Mr. C? Is there a shortage? Is there an artificial shortage? Is there a natural shortage? And is SO number 4 rightfully issued or improper because there is hoarding? Would you like to answer in Tagalog or in English? Bahala na po kayo.
Salamat po. Good afternoon po, Your Honors. Attorney Juan Lorenzo Tañada po, appearing for and on behalf of our CEO, Garrett Magaon, who's not present today because he's currently abroad in consultation with our principals in Singapore. Your Honors, I would answer, first of all, that yes, we feel the scarcity of sugar in our operations. Yes, we were present po at that meeting called for the purpose, and we attended it at the Department of Agriculture, I believe on August 2, 2022. Your Honor, if I may, our CEO actually executed an affidavit. If I would be allowed po, I may be able to read it into the record.
That will be hearsay if you extract from the portions of the affidavit. Mr. Secretary, do we have a copy of that affidavit? Is this from Mr. Garrett Guion.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Wala pa kami. We don't have a copy here. So I hope you can be it's in the tick folder. You can have the gist. You can have the gist. Will the gist answer my questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there is a shortage, scarcity.
Yes, Your Honor, if we refer po particularly to paragraph 3 of the affidavit.
Go ahead. Hahanapin ko. Please proceed, sir.
Opo. Your Honor, kung pwede ko pong basahin yung paragraph 3. Coca-Cola's manufacturing process requires the use of bottler's grade premium refined sugar instead of merely standard refined sugar. Since the beginning of 2022, we began to observe a scarcity of bottler's grade premium refined sugar as well as a dramatic surge in prices of what available stocks we could source. So, sa madaling salita po, Your Honor, magmula ng umpisa po ng taong ito, nahirapan na po kami mag-manufacture ng in the customary manner. Kaya po, minabuti na po namin na tumangguni po sa mga may kinaukulan upang humingi po ng tulong.
This is the first time that this happened?
Actually, Your Honor, we felt some shortages before, but I would say, based on my 7 years po in the Coca-Cola system, ito na po siguro yung pinakagrabe.
So what about when, the instance when SO number 3 was issued? Were you affected?
Binigyan po kami ng allocation noon ng 10,000 metric tons po yata, Your Honor. Pero nung nakuha po namin yung 10,000 metric tons na yun, kung di po nagkakamali, 2 o 3 araw lang po naubos na siya.
So, in effect, you are refuting the statements coming from the Senate President, including the visuals, that there is an enough buffer of sugar in warehouses apparently not being distributed. We welcome the arrival of the good Senate President. You are just being refuted by the representative coming from Coca-Cola. We will give the Senate President a chance to rebut you, Attorney. So you are refuting the statements of the Senate President. There is no sugar shortage, scarcity, and the issuance of SO number 4 is in order. Am I correct?
If I may po, sir.
Hindi,
Your Honor.
sagutin mo muna ako. Tama ba ako?
We will need to qualify po, Your Honor, because we don't have
Baka natakot
access
ka
to
lang
sugar.
dumating si Senate President.
Gusto lang po namin magsabi po ng complete po yung ano namin, yung context po, Your Honor.
And that context, I will allow Mr. Sebastian to butt in if you may, if you can. It has something to do with the reclassification. So there are sugar imports coming in, later on would be reclassified. Are you affected by that?
Kung meron pong dumating na asukal po na magagamit po namin, kasi halimbawa po bottler grade din po siya, then makakabuti po yan, makaka-operate po kami ng nasa normal pace po, Your Honor.
I will, yes, I was about to say that I will give my floor to the good Senate President.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleague, tanggalin na lang natin ito kasi di yata tayo makikita. Masyado mababa itong Juan. Nasa firing line kami dito ni Senator Bato. But thank you very much, my dear chairperson, and to my dear colleagues, and of course to the guests that are here today. On Coca-Cola, you were here earlier when I spoke. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. You saw the almost over 100,000 metric tons that were in the bodegas that we showed you earlier under SO3, SO number 3.
I saw the pictures po, Your Honor.
That is Butler's grade refined sugar. That is correct? Most of them.
I couldn't tell po, Your Honor.
That's what we were told. It were Butler's grade refined sugar. So, is there quandary in your position declaring that there is no supply of sugar as compared to what we showed you as there is a supply of sugar? Is there somebody telling you na wala, pero meron pala? Could that be a possibility?
It could be possible, Your Honor, assuming po that that sugar is there and it's offered to us. It hasn't happened po eh.
That's exactly our point. So, as a producer of, I guess you're the biggest consumer of sugar, refined sugar in the country.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're in a quandary because you have no place to get this sugar. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We have tried our best, and we are still trying our best, and we still don't have access to butter grade sugar in that amount, Your Honor.
But obviously, so sugar order number 3 was supposed to correct that. That is supposed to be going to industrial users. Is that correct? Have you been given from sugar order number 3?
Mr. Senate President, actually we got 10,000 metric tons.
That's all? Out of
Yes.
the 200,000 metric tons? Only 10,000 metric tons?
Yes, Your Honor.
No wonder you're complaining, Your Honor, Mr. Chairperson. But obviously, the sugar is going somewhere else. So, what you're trying to say is, as a standpoint of an industrial user, wala kayong mahanap na asukal. Pero, nagulat din po kayo na marami palang asukal. Would that be safe to say?
Your Honor, if it were there, we'd be very happy po talaga. Especially if it's at the proper price, we would be very much willing to buy it, Your Honor.
For my questioning now, if I may, Mr. Chairperson, unless I will defer to my
Proceed.
dear-
With the permission of the Senate President, next to
Yes.
question will be Senator Estrada. Thereafter, Senator Padilla has been patiently waiting for the last 7 hours.
Oh, I'm willing to.
And then Senator De La Rosa and then Senator Bongo.
Yeah, yung akin lang kasi po, meron po akong train of questioning that would establish the legality or illegality of sugar order number 4. I'm going now to the SRA administrator. Earlier, Mr. Administrator. Oh, maybe administer the oath of office. I mean the oath.
Mr. Secretary, na-administer natin. Have we,
Yes, Your Honor.
yes,
Mr.
yes,
Serafica, yes, Your Honor.
you can answer, Mr. Serafica. If asked, we will recognize you since you're now familiar with your situation. You're under oath. And of the 6 senators present here, 8 senators would like to question you, including those virtually present. Mr. Senate President, you can proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Senate President.
Mayang hapon,
Wala pang
sir.
question, sir.
May
Yeah.
hapon.
Mayang hapon, sir. Sir, let's just go on the legality first of, before we discuss SO number 3, let's go on SO number 4. Let us establish first SO number 4. Who drafted sugar order number 4, Your Honor? Was it
Sorry.
your office, Your Honor? Or was it Yusek Sebastian? Who drafted sugar order number 4?
I drafted sugar order number 4.
You
Mr. Chair.
personally drafted sugar order number 4.
Me and my staff. Mr.
Your technical assistants.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
As I mentioned earlier, and I found out, and you can answer us either yes or no, did you consult with the management of SRA, particularly your deputy administrators on regulation, administration, etc., on SO number 4?
On SO number 4, Mr. Chair, I did not consult them. In the past,
Yes, but isn't that...
any board member, Mr. Chair, can craft a sugar order. There is no rule that only the regulations department can endorse a sugar order.
No.
In the past,
in sugar order number 3, you had routed this to the department, your deputy administrators. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And the process is that the deputy administrators, after routing, will recommend it to the Sugar Regulatory Board.
That's correct.
That's correct. In this case, you did not do that. You drafted it yourself, and you had the members of the board sign without the knowledge of the deputy administrators because they already are under oath and they gave a testimony earlier.
That's correct.
That's correct. Don't you think this is highly out of order?
May I explain, Your Honor? In this case, since it was a directive to craft an importation plan, we did not want to let anybody know until such time it will reach
No,
the office of the
but
President.
why did you not want anybody to know? Because, This is a very important matter. You do not import, Your Honor, with due respect, such a large amount of sugar without consulting the industries involved together with the stakeholders.
Now-
You just said it now. You do not want anyone to know. What is the secrecy of such a transaction, Your Honor, and we'd like to put this on record that it has not been done. The practice is that you consult your colleagues in the Sugar Regulatory Administration. Okay. Now, it
Mr.
is
Mr.
settled.
Chair,
Yes, please, go ahead.
if I may just be allowed quickly to present just 4 slides, Mr. Chair, just so I can present to you the facts behind the issue on SO4, where it is coming from. If you would allow me, it would be of great help for this.
It will be dependent on the chairman. On this.
How many minutes would you present the slides? Is this part of your sworn statement, or are these new slides not part of our folders?
It's part, Mr. Chair. I think this is very important for everyone to appreciate the facts of.
Can you do that in 3 minutes?
Well, I'll try my best quickly, Mr. Chair.
Yes, because apparently you can work fast, as shown by SO number 4. The chair grants the request of the resource person to present some slides. Do we have your USB with us? Thank you. You may proceed, Administrator Seraphica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed, sir.
This projected raw sugar supply and demand. This is the data SRA was holding at the crafting of SO4. This was presented to the stakeholders consultation on July 29, 2022 and submitted to the board for the August 8, 2022 referendum for SO4. Figures as of July 17, 2022 are the projections from the Regulations Department. Estimated production is based on the crop estimate from the RDE Department of SRA at 1.8 million metric tons. Estimated demand is based on actual data from September 2021 to June 2022 and previous crop year data for July and August 2022. The estimated ending balance by August 31 is negative 35,231 metric tons. A comfortable ending stock balance to carry over until production of next crop year picks up at 200,000 metric tons to 250,000 metric tons. Next slide, please. Projected refined sugar supply and demand. This is also the data presented to the stakeholders consultation on July 29, 2022 and submitted to the board for the August 8, 2022 referendum. Estimated production is based on PASRI estimate of 15,431,000 bags. Estimated demand is based on actual data for September 2021 to June 2022 and previous years data for July and August 2022. The estimated ending balance towards August 31 on domestic refined sugar is negative 20,748. But on the imported, the SO3 of 2021 and SO3 of 2022 totals 150,000 metric tons, totaling 129,251.35 metric tons. Next slide, please. The raw sugar production and demand for the last 3 crop years. Please take note that the vertical bars represent production. The horizontal lines represent the demand. September production is not sufficient for the demand and barely enough in October. Historically, we need a buffer stock of at least 200,000 metric tons to 250,000 metric tons to carry us through the lean months at the start of the next crop year. To tide us over in September, we need around 170,000 metric tons based on average monthly demand for the last 3 crop years. Next slide, please. refined sugar production and demand. This also tells us the 3 crop years on the historical data. Production, the vertical bars refers to the production. The horizontal lines refers to the demand. Production for September to November is not enough for our demand. Thus, we need carryover ending balance of at least 3 months or around 255,000 metric tons with a monthly average of 85,000 metric tons for the last 3 crop years. Sugar requirement until production becomes sufficient. Raw sugar requirement for, next slide please. Sorry. Next slide please.
Can you wrap it up, Mr. Administrator? Your
Sugar requirement
3
until
minutes is almost up.
sugar requirement until production becomes sufficient. Raw sugar requirement for 1 month of September is 170,000 metric tons. Refined sugar requirement for 3 months, September to November, is 255,000 metric tons. Minus the balance of 129,000 gives us 125,749, plus the 170,000 that gives us 295,749. Hence, we need to import 300,000 metric tons to supply the demand for September to November.
Good,
Next
thank you.
slide,
So
please.
you rounded up, Mr. Administrator.
Yeah.
Next slide, please.
Senate
This is
Yes.
important, Mr. Chair. This is very important. Written recommendations of sugarcane industry stakeholders. CONFED, not more than 300,000 metric tons, 150,000 metric tons of raw sugar, and 150 tons of refined sugar. NFSP, 300,000 metric tons, 50% for domestic market, 50% for industrial users. Panay Fed, 300,000 metric tons, 50% for industrial users, 50% for non-industrial users. Luzon Fed and UniFed sent a joint resolution, 300,000 metric tons refined only. Only the following traders: All Asian Countertrade Inc., Amirop Philippines Inc., Sukden Philippines Inc., Edison Lee Marketing Corporation, Oro Aliado Commodities Inc., San Fernando Area Commercial, and Skylar Company. PSMA, 300,000 metric tons, 150,000 metric tons of raw, and 150 tons of refined. PASRI, 200,000 metric tons, whether raw or refined. Decision should be left to the better judgment of parties that will be authorized to import.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. We
Thank
read
you,
that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. May I continue my questions?
Let that remain flash on the screen. Let
Yes.
that remain flash on the screen. The Senate President would add something.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask him, when was this report made? What exact date was this report made? These slides you're showing us.
This was a consultation.
No, these slides, all this that was made, was it done a few days ago?
No, Mr. Chair.
When was it made? I'm asking the question. Answer the question. Because the stakeholders that you mentioned there, except for CONFED, Your Honor, has disputed this. And they went to see the President. And they disputed it. So now my question is, when was this done? Because the position of the SRA 2 weeks ago, when this all blew up in your face, SO number 4, was there was no sugar available. Walang zero sugar. And yet, I will show you, I will point you the slides. Can everybody show the slides of the apprehension of the BOC? Maybe just remind the good SRA administrator, maybe replay the pictures of the toneladang punong-punong mga bodega ng asukal. That is my question, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. I do not know if he's trying to cover his tracks by justifying sugar order number 4, but clearly we have hundreds of thousands of metric tons in bodegas not being utilized. Here, I'm showing it now on screen, Your Honor, Mr. Administrator, for you to see. That's not, hindi bola yan. That is all sugar. Punong-punong bodega. You can't even walk anymore. Of sugar. Coca-Cola, look at that. That is sugar that's supposed to go to you. What were they doing in these container vans? Wasn't that the job of the SRA? To release that sugar. for the consumption of the industrial users, and if there is a lack of household consumers, can be reclassified under the instruction of the board. So, obviously, you did not put this in consideration because your initial response, Your Honors, of the SRA, there was no sugar. Until I came out with this internal memo from the SRA that there is exactly, to be exact, 126,000 metric tons as of August 12. There was 126,000 metric tons. And we were looking for it. The answer of the SRA at the time of the leadership is, wala, hindi namin alam yan, kung saan yan. The executive secretary, inutos niya yung BOC na yon, inutos niya yung ISAP, inutos niya yung PNP. Hanapin ito. Ayan na po. Nahanap na po. Ano po yan? Is that hoarding? Sinong may kasalanan yan? Bakit hindi nyo pinalabas yan? It's just as simple as that. Because the president is being embarrassed because of the high prices of sugar. The SRA says, there is no sugar. We cannot find any sugar. Here are the bodegas full of sugar. Coca-Cola, these poor guys are no longer selling Coke because they cannot find sugar. There's the sugar. Right there. Why is it being hoarded? Why is it not being released to the public? Why is it being kept under lock and key? That is my point. And that is only sugar order number 3. What protection do we have with sugar order number 4? You bring in 300,000 metric tons, ganun din ang mangyayari doon. Hindi nyo ilalabas. Tataas ang presyo, benta sa publiko. At ang kawawa ang consumer. And of course, since it will flood the market, ang kawawa dyan ang ating mga magsasaka. So, let us go back to SO number 4. My question, Your Honors, and I already established, Your Honor, that hindi siya nakipag-konsulta sa kanyang deputy administrators. He admitted on record today that he kept it a secret so that they can speed up the release of the document. Now, is it true that under SO number 4, you have the sole authority to reclassify from B to C? You. Because in previous SOs, sugar orders, it was the board. Under SO number 4, to just let the gentleman know, what is the reclassification? Very important yan. Pagpasok ng imported sugar, Your Honors, please listen to this very important note. It comes in as C sugar that is reserved. Hindi po magalaw yan. The board now will decide to make it B, which is domestic, para mailabas yan. The power is vested on the board. Okay? Including the secretary or whoever, the acting secretary, the president. But now, under this very document, it was designated to the administrator himself, Your Honor. Now, is that a correct assumption that under SO number 4, you have the sole power and authority to reclassify the sugar?
If the board would authorize me, Mr. Chair.
Yes, it is written in
Yes.
the SO4. It is clearly written. Let's not mess up the documents. Under number 8.1, Your Honor, for the immediate availability of the sugar in the market, the SRA board delegates the administrator the authority to reclassify imported sea sugar to B. But you know, Your Honors, they're already given a delegated authority. They cannot delegate that authority to you. It's a delegated authority to them. So, this is not present in SO number 3.
In this case, Mr. Chair, this would expedite the availability of sugar for the local market.
Yes. But isn't that a very powerful position to take?
You are not the board.
Oh, one person
You are
alone?
just the mere executor of the board's decision. You arrogated upon yourself the powers of the board.
That would have been up to the board if they would have commented on that particular provision on the draft SO, Mr. Chair.
Ito na nga eh, Your Honor, signed by everybody.
So meaning they did not object to the idea of the draft sugar order, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, but then the
There is
board has to clarify this because it's a very important and powerful position to be able to be a sole authority in reclassifying sugar. There's a price difference in all of this, huh? And it's a very powerful position because then all the traders will go to you and pa-reclassify sila kung anong gusto nilang ipa-reclassify. Isang tao lamang, hindi na po yung board ang magdidesisyon nito. Okay, I just want to put that on record. Let us not argue. I want to put on record that in the previous sugar orders, wala ito. Itong sugar order number 4 na unang-una, sikretong pagkagawa, pangalawa, iisa lamang ang magbibigay po ng binigay kapangyarihan para mag-reclassify ng asukal from reserved to domestic use. Very, very important function and of the board was actually given to him, now delegated to him. The other question, Your Honors. Oh, sige.
Cayetano is
Mr. Chairman,
recognized.
Senate
We also
President,
recognize the arrival of
just
Senator Pimentel.
Just on your very, very important point, because I'm still really baffled why someone would sign for the President na hindi namang klaro na pumapayag. So sabi niyo po, sir, pumayag naman yung board na i-delegate sa iyo. So ang tanong ko, simple lang po. Kung iikot mo naman yung resolution at may pirma sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng Pangulo na nakapirma, sinong board ang hihindi?
Yun nga, Your Honor.
So dahil akala mo pwede kang pumirma, akala ng board gusto ng presidente na i-delegate sa iyo. Tama po ba?
Is that a question for me, Mr. Chair?
Doon po sa pumirma, sir, ikaw ba yung pumirma for the president?
I am not, Mr. Chair.
Kayo po. Yeah, kayo po.
Yes. I signed, Your Honor, but I was the last to sign.
You're the last to sign.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, but you made it appear na yun po ang gusto ng Pangulo.
Yes, Your Honor, based on the authority that was given to me last July 15, 2020, and in good faith, Your Honor, and
I'll just clarify this, Mr. SP, dahil nakadugtong talaga sa... Who gave you the authority to sign for the president?
there was a memo issued on July 15, 2022, Your Honor, delegating the authority for me to sit ex officio in the SRA board, Your Honor.
Yes. So, dapat po, you were signing as ex officio, not signing for the president. Magkaiba po yun.
Not for the President, Your Honor, for the Secretary of Agriculture.
Yes,
and
but
Chair.
then, ang nakalagay po dito, His Excellency, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., SRA Board Chairperson, DA Secretary.
Yes, Your Honor.
You signed on top and then you assigned for.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that doesn't give the impression that you can sign anything for him or your ex officio. That gives the impression na in this case, pinayagan ka ng Pangulo. So you're saying that that authority gave you a carte blanche na kahit ano sa SRA pwede mo ipirma ang pangalan ng Pangulo?
No, Your Honor. I reported actually the approval, Your Honor, the following day, and it was disapproved by the President.
Yes, you sign first, then get approval later on. But you're saying because you had authority to sign. So either you had authority to sign or you did not have authority to sign. And if you had authority to sign as ex officio, you should have signed as ex officio. I'll give you an example. If I'm not a member of this committee and the Senate President made me ex officio member, I will sign as Alang Cayetano, ex officio member. I could indicate that I was appointed by Senate President Zubiri, but I cannot sign Senate President Zubiri for, and then ako yon. Di ba? So, I'll leave it there, Mr. President, but balikan po natin yan kasi nga, ang inaalala ko, napakasamang president to sa buong gobyerno. So, yung kayang order ngayon na walang pasok ngayon, si Pangulo talaga yon or someone, again, akala niya can sign for the president? You see the problem that this brings. I don't know you, Yusek, and I have nothing against you, but for me, sugar is such a big issue, farmers, pero napakalaking issue din po yung pwedeng pumirma for the president. Pag pumirma ka for the president, Ibig sabihin, ang Pangulo mismo nagsabi sa iyo na pwede kang pumirma sa pangalan niya. If it's a delegated authority, you should have signed your name and then said that you are allowed to sign. So I'll leave it there. And of course, if you want to respond to that. No?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I just have one quick question and one point that I just want to share with everyone. So my next question, Administrator, is, in Sugar Order number 3, there was a performance bond given to the importers. In Sugar Order number 4, there was none. Tinanggal nyo ang performance bond, which is supposed to be one of the mechanisms that will protect from unscrupulous importation. Kasi, correct me if I'm wrong, if they import, I think the performance bond was 500 pesos per bag. Pag nag-import yan para sa industrial user, hindi dumating sa industrial user, di tanggal yung, na-confiscate yung bond na yon. In this case, Sugar Order number 4 has no performance bond. Why is that so, Administrator?
To lessen additional cost for the consumers because retail prices are already very high, Mr.
No,
Chair.
but the performance bond, Your Honor, is returned, di ba? It is returned to the importer. It's a bond. Once it's imported, distributed, for example, Coca-Cola, 100,000 is supposed to, let's say, just to give an example, 100,000 metric tons going to go to Coca-Cola. The importer of that 100,000 metric tons will pay the performance bond to SRA. Once it delivers to Coca-Cola, you return the performance bond. So what cost is that to the consumer? But that is a protection on your part that they will not pole vault the sugar, which is what's happening now. They're pole vaulting the sugar.
Under existing rules, Mr. Chair, on the monitoring and inspection of SRA, it's not only the performance bond that the regulations department is looking at, even the movements and everything on these issues,
Yes,
Mr.
but
Chair.
Your Honor, I just showed you. You didn't even know. All the pictures that I showed you. Maybe ask to
you
mute.
unmute?
Can we mute first all the other
Somebody's,
players?
trying to
Yes.
butt in.
It is so clear as day that even the SRA head does not know about all the sugar that's being stocked up there. So, it would have been better that we would err on the side of caution in terms of government a bond or a government protection whatsoever, so that way may makuha naman tayo, may punishment sila pag hindi nila na-deliver sa desired demand or desired recipients. Your Honor?
In this case, Mr. Chair, the intent was to lessen the additional cost for the consumers because retail prices are already very high. If you will recall, Mr. Chair, the SO4, 300,000, 150,000 of that will go to the industrials. The 150,000 will go to the industrial traders so they can sell it to the
Yeah, but
consumers
my
and to
point,
the
Your
household.
Honor, Mr. Chairman, he just has to answer the question. My point is, there is a standard bond given to importers of sugar under the previous SO sugar order. Ngayon po, tinanggalan yan. That means those who are maybe not so large importers, maybe smaller importers na walang kapital na ipagbigay ng bond, pwede silang makipasok. Unlike the bigger importers that have a track record, that already delivered to Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, RC-Cola, and all of them, are just one of the players of many. That can happen because there's no longer a performance bond. Diba? Oh, isn't that disadvantageous to the government? That's supposed to be I'm just laying out all the I guess the anomalies that we see in sugar order number 4. Now, it is on record. I just want to put on record again the haste. Allergic na allergic kami dito sa mga mabibilis na transactions. PSDBM, under the last Congress, found out that there were documents that were given same day, 2 days after, approved by the BAC immediately. And these are on record under this committee. We would like to show you that on August 4, they had a meeting in Malacanang to come up with an import plan. Import plan lang ito. Tama po? Hindi nila sinabi, mag-import kayo. Ang sabi nila, come up with a plan. Just correct me, yes or no? It's an import plan. Unless you tell me otherwise that they told you to import this much. Was it just an import plan?
Yes, to submit
Okay.
as soon as possible an import plan.
Okay. August 4. August 5, nag-email ka na ng draft SO4, import program kay Yusek Sebastian, 1 day after that. Is that correct? Because these are records.
That's correct.
That's correct. So 1 day, import plan pa lang yan. Don't you think the import plan should detail meeting with stakeholders, all the farmers groups, and end users? But I just want to put on record how quick this was done. August 4, import plan. Hindi naman sinasabi na mag-import kayo, magplano lang kung gaano karami. August 5, meron ka ng planong importation order na binigay kay Secretary Sebastian. August 6 and 7 was a weekend. August 8, pina-approve mo through a referendum with the members of the board. Is that correct? August 8.
I asked guidance from Undersecretary Sebastian on August 8 in the morning on how to move forward, seeing the urgency on the matter.
Okay. August 9, Your Honors, I just want to put this on record. Tapos na ang board resolution for SO4. 4 na araw. 4 na araw for such an important document for importation. Don't you think that is highly irregular? It is not common. How long did it take for SO3 to come out?
It was quick, Mr. Chair.
As quick as this? Now,
It was even quicker than this because of the urgency.
SO3?
Yes.
Yes, and that's why you had 2 RTC cases. Because the stakeholders did not know anything about it. And the regional trial courts, and yet you continued with your importation.
Mr. Chair, if I may, there was also consultation. If I remember way back January 20, 2022.
Yes,
we
well-
do not do all these things, Mr. Chair, without consultation.
But again,
Because-
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, I would like to put the groups that went to see the President had said that they were not consulted on this SO number 4. How can you have done the consultation? August 4 kayo nag-meeting. August 5, draft nyo na. Oh, how did you consult within that day? Your
They-
Honor.
They submitted documents, written documents, Your Honor.
Well,
And these are
they are
all
here, Mr. President, Mr. Chair. The stakeholders are there who are willing to be on record to either refute or confirm the gentleman's statement. My point, and that's it. My last point is SO4 for me is highly irregular. As already mentioned by Malacanang, it is illegal. Unfortunately, there is malfeasance, misfeasance, usurpation of authority. I think it is in the realm within the realm of this committee to make the necessary, determination of this. And again, moving forward, I hope and pray that the SRA will do it differently next time. That with due respect to you, Administrator, looking and finishing my statement, I saw the list there. I saw the numbers. You're saying up to November, we need to come up with an importation for November. I beg to disagree because Negros is already harvesting now. You are from Leyte. You're from Leyte. I'm from Negros and Bukidnon. I know for a fact Victorias is already harvesting. La Carlota and several other sugar mills have already started. They're claiming that by end of September, October, there is already sugar in the bodegas to be distributed all over. They're refuting your claim that there will be no sugar until November. So, Your Honors, that is very important that there should be a mechanism that the stakeholders are involved when it comes to importation. Yan po ang pangako namin, pangako ko po yan. This was my promise in the campaign. Alam po ni Senator Estrada yan. We were together on stage together with Senator Padilla. And in Uniteam, uunahin namin, protektahan ang ating sariling mga magsasaka. Ubusin natin ang kanilang produkto bago tayo mag-import sa labas. Yun po, Mr. Chairman. And I hope this committee can act swiftly on this issue. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. President. We assure you that we will act swiftly with the permission of Senator Padilla. Nahihiya na po ako kay Senator Padilla. 7 oras na dito. Nakiusap po muli si Senator Jinggoy. Isang tanong lang daw siya. Pakatapos si
Madalawa
Senator
naman.
Padilla na. Senator Estrada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With the indulgence of Senator Robin Hood Padilla, I would like to ask some questions, propound some questions to the former Administrator Sharafika. So, you are the mastermind of SO number 4?
I endorse that to the Sugar
Yeah,
Board.
you
Mr.
were the
Chair.
one who drafted
Yes.
SO number 4.
Yes,
Sumakatwid,
Mr. Chair.
ikaw ang mastermind. Anyway, before you drafted this sugar order number 4, you never consulted any stakeholders, am I right?
We did, Mr. Chair.
How long?
On
And when did you talk with the stakeholders concerned? And who among the stakeholders concerned did you discuss SO number 4?
We met via online, Your Honor, and these are the following stakeholders that were in attendance, and they also wrote the recommendations by way of a written recommendation. Number 1, CONFED.
When was this?
This was conducted online, Mr. Chair.
When?
July 29.
July 29.
Yes.
Okay.
CONFED sent a letter signed by Mr. Raymond Montinola. National Federation of Sugarcane Planters, signed by its president, Enrique Rojas. PANAYFED, signed by its president, Danilo
Wait,
Abilita.
how many stakeholders are there in the sugar industry?
There are 5 federations, Mr. Chair, 2 millers and 1 refiner.
How many consult?
Almost all of them, Mr. Chair. Yes.
Mr. Chair, if we may, later after the good gentleman speaks on that, we ask also the stakeholders online. I saw Unifed head Lamata, and also that we can be clarified.
Yes,
It's not coming only
yeah,
from
yeah.
the
Yes,
voice of the
yes, yes.
gentleman.
If they're virtually present.
Maybe we can ask them if they were consulted.
The gentleman can finish his question.
Okay. Can we ask him first? If he was consulted.
Mr. Lamata, can you hear us, sir? You are
Good
muted.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. The question of Senator Estrada is that were you consulted as alleged by the administrator here?
Good afternoon, Senator Tolentino. We were made to believe po that the President ordered the importation of 300, they wanted our importation of 300,000 metric tons because it was a national emergency. So we signed because who are we to question the wisdom of the President? But we signed all refined. What happened po when SO4 was made, half was raw or brown, half was refined. We never signed for that, Your Honors. We can never allow brown sugar to be imported because Negros is already milling. If that comes down to Negros, patay ang mga planters namin po. Bagsak ang presyo. We will never allow that. At yung
Ayan.
ang SO4 po, daming anomaly. Yung isa po, if I may get my notes.
Before you proceed, Mr. Lamata, the Senate President or Senator Estrada would like
So
to...
they were made to believe that it was upon the instructions of the President.
That is correct po. That SO3 and SO4 both, we were made to believe that the President wanted the importation.
But there was
po.
no real shortage of sugar, am I correct?
Eh yun na nga po, ito siya, si Mr. Sarapica, wakwak na wala na daw asukal, wala naman siya nagpa-survey. Ilang beses na po, I wrote him 4 or 5 times. You make a national survey. That is the job of the SRA,
Okay.
which was done in past administrations. How can he have a
Gentleman,
justification of
Mr.
numbers?
Lamata, can you please refrain
thank
from
you,
continuing?
Mr.
You're in a committee hearing. You refrain from using language that will offend the senses of this committee, wak-wak, etc., etc. Say it in a direct Webster English. Mr. Lamata. What do you mean by wak-wak?
Pasensya na po.
Go ahead. But we understand you.
Thank you po. Mr. Sarapica has been giving us numbers when he has never made a survey of any mill or any bodega. In the past administrations po, kagalang senators, SRA used to make 3 surveys in 1 year, before the start of milling, middle of milling, and after milling. Then you can make an exact data how much is required by the country and the consumption to import or not to import. Ito siya po, never has he made a survey. So how can he say and justify that there is a shortage? When you go po to the palengkes, there is sugar. Yun lang, sobrang mahal. And we do not agree with that price neither because all our sugars po are being bought by the traders from us at Millgate at 40 pesos po per kilo. And we do not agree to be that the sugar is being sold in the palengkes at 100. Sobra-sobra na yan po.
Thank you, Mr. Lamata. Mr. Serafica, before you drafted this SO number 4, you never inspected any warehouses, you never surveyed any warehouses of sugar?
That is a regular activity of the regulations department to monitor movements of sugar, Mr. Chair. And I would like to request the committee to answer on the survey being undertaken by the SRA. Deputy Administrator Tihida is here to make this clear to the committee, because there are internal procedure of SRA, Mr. Chair.
Well, wait, okay. According to the Senate President, you did this in haste, okay? Why can't you wait for the approval of the President, who is concurrently the Acting Secretary of the Department of Agriculture?
Your Honor, it was not done in haste. It was submitted to the board for referendum, and I voted first.
So you are refuting the statements made by the Senate President?
I am just stating facts, Your Honor. That was what happened. After me, former board member Beltran manifested his vote. And the following day, former board member Valderrama casted his vote as well.
May I just make a really quick manifestation? I had the chance to speak with former board member Beltran, and he was told me, because he's from Bukidnon, and he told me, Sen Migs, I was made to believe that the president insisted on this importation. Same as the sugar federations. Somebody's mouthing
kaya-
out saying that it is the president who wants this. But
That
it's
was the
not
reason
true.
they signed they signed this, ano. Am I correct? Because they were made to believe that it was the instruction by the president himself. But anyway, we have received information that you have already sold or allotted to some notorious applicants a sugar allocation even before the issuance of SO number 4. How true is this?
That's not true, Your Honor.
Are you sure?
That's not true.
How long have
I
you
will
been,
swear to that.
how long have you been working with the SRA?
I was appointed by former President Duterte as board member way
When?
back 2016. And when the administratorship's office was vacated by the former administrator, I was appointed on September 2017 as administrator by former President Duterte.
Okay. My last question. Is your authority given by the board to convert Class C sugar to Class B sugar been approved by the President as the DA Secretary?
Sorry, again, your question, Mr. Chair.
Is your authority given by the board to convert Class C sugar to Class B sugar has been approved by the President or as the current Secretary of the Department of Agriculture?
It was approved through the referendum, Your Honor.
But by the President or by the Secretary of the DA?
It was signed by the three of us.
I am asking you, the President, did he give you authority?
The President does not give me authority, Your Honor.
Has it been approved by the President?
It is the majority of the members of the board that cast their vote.
As the DA Secretary, has it been approved by the President?
Is that question directed to me, Mr.
That's
Chair? Or
directed
you-
to you. Ang tanong ni Senator Estrada, the President being the concurrent DA Secretary.
Undersecretary Sebastian signed for that approval, Mr. Chair.
Ang tinatanong ko po kung ang Presidente bilang kalihim ng Department of Agriculture, kung inaprubahan ba niya yung pag-convert ng Class C sugar to Class B sugar.
Napirmahan po ni Yusek Sebastian. So I would assume aprobado po yun ni Presidente.
Ang tanong po ni Senator Estrada ganito, yung pagbibigay sa inyo ng kapangyarihan to act as the SRA board itself, you solely would be violative of Republic Act 10659, the SIDA law of 2015, and glaringly Section 4 of Executive Order number 18, referring to the corporate powers of the board. Because you cannot function as the entire board. You are just the administrator of the SRA. Yun siguro yung tinatanong ni Senator Estrada. Has this been validated through an action coming from the current DA Secretary? So wala. Wala po yun. Kahit anong pa ligoy-ligoy natin, wala po yun. Senator Estrada, I think...
Yes, I have only promised around 2 to
Yes.
3 questions. I yield the floor to
Senator
Senator
Padilla.
Padilla. But I reserve my right to propound questions in the next hearing.
Senator Padilla, you have the floor. You've been waiting patiently for 7 hours.
Maraming salamat po, Chairman. Gusto ko lamang pong batiin yung ating mga bisita. Ako po'y hanga sa pag-resign ninyo sapagkat bihira po yan sa gobyerno natin kapag may ganitong usapin. Ayaw mag-resign, nakakapit tuko. Pero kayo po ay nag-resign. Ngayon, ang hindi ko lamang po maintindihan kasi kanina pa po ako, sabi nga po ng ating chairman, kanina pa po ako nakikinig, parang tuwing may babato, nakasangga po kayo eh. Talagang matindi ang pagsangga. Para po sa akin, sa binabasa ko po rito, sapat na yung sinabi ng ating press secretary na sinabi po niya na, ito po basahin ko po The chairman of the Sugar Regulatory Board is President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. As such chairman, he sets the date of any meetings and convening of the Sugar Regulatory Board and its agenda. No such meeting was authorized by the President, nor such a resolution likewise was not authorized. Ngayon, dito naman po sa sumunod, sinabi po dito na tinatanggap po ni Sir Sebastian ang responsibility. Ang una ko pong tanong, nararamdaman niyo naman po siguro yung bigat ngayon ng sitwasyon. Hindi po ba nababago yung inyong sinabi? Yun po ba pangahawakan pa rin po namin na kayo po ang tumatanggap ng responsibilidad na ito? Kung ano man, kung saan man po mapunta ito, kung dalhin man po ito sa kaso, at ito po ay makarating sa judiciary, tinatanggap niyo po?
Mr. Chair, I resigned for delicadeza and to spare the President from these issues that may arise. Honor. So I offered to sign.
Apo. Ako po, bilib po ako doon. Saludo po ako doon. Yung pong tanong ko po, handa po kayo lahat ng umani nito. Kasi nakita niyo naman po, ang aking ginoong Pangulo ay talagang pinaglalaban ng ating, alam niyo po kasi, usapin po ito ng magsasaka. Bago po ito napunta sa importasyon, gusto ko din pong liwanagin sa ating mga kababayan, ang inyo pong opisina ay hindi lamang po patungkol sa importasyon. Kayo din po ay nasa eksportasyon. Hindi lang natin magawa yan. Sapagkat hindi ko po din malaman kung bakit. Ito pong importasyon nito, hindi po ito yung mandato lang lamang ninyo. Kailangan po ito maintindihan din ng mga kababayan natin. No po? Ang gusto ko po lang marinig, handa po ba niyong tanggapin lahat ito, Ginoong Sebastian? Na kayo po ang haharap sa korte, kayo po ang magbubuhat nito.
Your Honor, I am accountable and responsible for my actions, Your Honor.
Opo yan, tatanggapin ko po yan na opo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Opo, maraming salamat po. Pwede pa po bang isa pang tanong? Pwede pa po ba? Tapos na po ba yung 5 minuto ko? Okay.
Senator Padilla, since you waited for 7 hours, we are now giving you 7 minutes.
Ayun, maraming salamat po. Yung sundan ko lang po yung sinabi ng ating Ginoong Pangulo. Ayon po sa datos na nabanggit ni Senate President sa kanyang privilege speech, ang mga magsasaka po at manggagawa sa sugar industry ang isa sa pinakamahirap sa lipunan. Sila ay kumikita lamang ng 30,000 kada buwan. 2,500. At kada taon po yun, yung 30,000. 2,500 kada buwan o 82 pesos kada araw. Tama po ba na kasama po sa mandato po ninyo ang pangangalaga sa mga magsasaka sa usapin ng sugar, sa asukal?
That for me, Your Honor, or for SRA?
Para po sa inyo po yan. Sa inyo po lahat. Sa lahat po ng nasa SRA, dahil ang pagkakaalam ko po, ang SRA po ay kasama po ninyo ang paglinang ng sugar industry sa bansa. Katunayan, dito po sa inyong GAA, nakalagay po dito, may budget po ang SRA na 712 million para sa mga sumusunod. Construction of farm-to-mill roads, Black Farm Program, Socialized Credit, Scholarship. Ito po ba naisasagawa po ng inyong opisina? Kasi natandaan po ninyo, ang linaw po ng sinabi ng Ginoong Pangulo, ang pinoproteksyonan po niya dito, una sa lahat, yung ating magsasaka. Gusto ko lamang pong malaman kung saan po napunta itong 712 million. 300, ito po, hati-hatiin ko. Sa construction po ng farm to mill, 356 million. Black Farm Program, 213 million. Socialized Credit, 106 million. Scholarship, 35 million. Sino po ang pwedeng sumagot po sa inyo? Kung saan, ano po nangyari dito sa mga ito? Ito po ba'y na-implement? Ito po ba'y napakinabangan ng ating mga magsasaka?
Your Honor, some of those projects are ongoing.
Pag sinabi niyo pong ongoing, meron po ba kayong pwedeng ipakita sa amin na datos nito?
Your Honor, at this point na wala na po ako sa SRA, pwede po siguro kung humingi.
Pero panahon po ninyo to, sir?
Yes po. So para sa update lang po, Your Honor, kung matulungan po ng committee para ma-direct yung management ng SRA para ma-update yung sinasabi mo po na 712 million kung ano ang breakdown at saka ano na po ang status
Meron
po.
po bang output? Ano po ang output nito? Meron po bang nadagdag na pwede tayong anihin?
Ito lahat.
Kasi ang pag-budget po ang pinag-usapan, sir. Kailangan may output po, di ba po?
Tama po. So, hindi ko lang ma-preempt yung report, official report ng SRA.
Masasabi po natin na medyo wala pong output sapagkat nag-i-import po tayo.
Hindi naman po. Kasi ito ay, these are the 5 po to na programa under SIDA Law 10659. Ang kalahati po ng budget nito ay pupunta po sa FMR. Ibig sabihin, yung kalsada po. Yung 15% pupunta po sa Black Farm. Ito po yung centerpiece ng SIDA Law, yung Black Farms.
Meron po bang nagawang kalsada?
Marami na po. Marami na po. habang-haba na po ang naparatingan ng Sidalo. Yan ang malaking tulong ni Senator Villar po at saka ni Senate President Subiri dito sa sugar industry
Okay.
po.
Noong nakaraang 2 taon po, meron pong mga ulat ang Commission on Audit tungkol sa mga unliquidated amount at account receivables para sa pagbili ng mga tractor-driven sugarcane harvester, cutter, para sa mga sugarcane farmers. Maaari po bang malaman kung ito po ba ay natapos, itong mga programa na ito, at yung mga biniling kagamitan po ba ay naipamahagi sa mga benepisyonaryo?
Your Honor, minabuti ko po yung panahon ng pandemic hanggang December 2021 na itapos na po yung procurement sa PITC. So itong 5 months ng 2022, naubos na po pag-deliver ang lahat po ng mga makinaryas para po sa
Nabanggit
magsasaka.
po yung PITC. Ano pong ibig niyo pong sabihin? Itinan over niyo sa kanila.
Hindi po. Ang nangyari kasi, Your Honor, nung 2019,
220 po ito.
2019 po kasi, inapprove po ng board na ipamahagi sa PITC ang procurement po ng machine.
Sila po ang bibili.
Sila ang magbibidding, tapos sila po ang magbayad kung sino man ang mananalo, tapos yung suppliers po ang
Kaya madaling salita, nakarating po.
nakarating na po. Yun ang nga
Okay.
sinabi ko sa inyo na hanggang Hunyo po itong taon na to, natapos po ang
Lahat
delivery.
po ito.
Lahat po.
Ibig pong sabihin, itong sinabi ng Commission on Audit, hindi na po natin ito papansinin.
Siguro po, mas maganda po para galing opisyal na komunikasyon po ng SRA para po official din po nga talagang wala na yung issue sa COA po para
Chairman,
Senator Villar trying to
yes,
interject
after
with the permission of
make a
Senator Padilla.
manifestation.
Yes, after the questioning of Senator Padilla, we will
Okay,
recognize
sige.
Senator Villar.
Okay.
Sorry po, Ma'am